Well, hello and welcome to today's slightly different session. You see, I've got a bit of a problem. I appear to have temporarily lost my mojo. He perdido mi mojo. Which is a bit awkward when you've got a photography channel and your mojo is intrinsically linked with your photography. So I decided to confide in another photographer who it turns out was rather a wise man. He said, Louise, stop and take stock. Take a little time to just go back over the things that you're quite pleased with from this year and perhaps think about setting yourself goals for next. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Goal setting is not really one of my strengths, even though I have to do it for a living with students and adults. It seems that I don't actually take my own advice. How useful. So I've done a little bit of research and it seems that if you write your goals down, you're 42% more likely to achieve them, which I think is quite staggering, if it's true. So in order for me to pull myself out of this photographic rut, I'm going to take things a little bit further and hopefully help you if you're in a similar position. First up, I'm going to think about 3 big lessons that I learned this year, and it's taken me a whole year to really get my head around them. Secondly, I'm going to give myself 4 things that I want to achieve next year. A whole 12 months I have. That should work. So, coming in at number 3 for the lessons I've learned this year is be spontaneous, or at least don't cut off all possibility of being spontaneous. I'm on a 3-day solo girl tour of the north of England, and what that gives me is a little bit of flexibility. I've got the wrong gear on because what was happening was I was going to be on the coast, getting up to my knees in lovely salt water, and as I was driving from the east side of the country to the west side of the country, I looked up into the hills and thought, no, I want to be up there. Being on my own afforded me a bit of a luxury of being spontaneous. Having my kit in the boot of my car meant that I could react to whatever the day threw at me. Heading towards my goal. Can't remember where I put my car keys. Probably should check that. Yes, found car keys. Oh, this is ridiculous. And it also meant that it didn't matter if I got up at silly o'clock to capture something gorgeous. Being spontaneous allowed me to actually capture a rare portfolio shot. Now, I've got memory cards full of mistakes, but it's what you do about them that counts. Which sort of leads me to point 2. Get out more and make those mistakes. I genuinely think that this year my photography has improved more than in any other year because I've just got out. Good morning and welcome to Trebarwith Strand in Cornwall. We left West Sussex at 5 o'clock to get here for high tide. I knew it was going to be a bit windy. I'm going to put my hat up actually because I look a bit ridiculous like this. I knew it was going to be a bit windy, but quite frankly, wasn't quite expecting this. And taking my own advice on my 3rd attempt of getting out there, I finally got one shot I was quite pleased with. Hello and welcome to Starling Watch 2023. It is the end of January 2023 in the last couple of weeks of the Starling Murmurations at Brighton Pier. Good morning and welcome to the Portuguese island of Madeira off the west coast of Africa. We are here today at Fernal Forest, famous for its laurels. And we're here to scout in the hope that at some particular stage we will get some cracking mist to come through and create some separation. Well, it took 2 days in bed and several visits for me to finally get the conditions that gave me these shots. Now, I know I've been really lucky. I've been to a few really nice places this year, but I've had to practice my craft beforehand so I don't completely mess it up when I'm out there. Coming in for me at number 1 this year was learning about the power of light to make or break a scene. Now, most photographers spend the time chasing the light and this being England, you either have light or not, and most of the time it's not, let's be honest with you. I think I've probably got a window of a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, sorry. For God's sake, welcome, sort yourself out. Okay, let's try it. Been set up, it's not going to be enough. Oh, okay, it's not enough. But it's enough so you can actually see the effect that it would have if it was stronger. I spent 6 months chasing the light over the South Downs to see the effect of the strength of the sun and also where it rose or set. This project, which is released under the Power of Light video, actually ended up with me getting some of my favourite images ever. And all pretty much on my own doorstep. So what about those 4 goals for 2024 that are going to help me get my mojo back? My first goal for this year is to work on projects a little bit more. Now, I mentioned that incidentally last year I had this project which was focusing on light. It wasn't intended on being a project, but by gosh, doing it over the course of the year, I learned so much more than I had done in previous years, just because I concentrated and I'd focused. Now, my project's not going to be one specific thing. It's going to be about me going to a place and seeing if I can focus on 3s. 3 different shots, maybe a wider scene, an intimate scene, and actually remembering to look behind me. The problem is I sit on a scene for ages and I miss so much that's going on around. So if I start thinking in 3s, it might force me to think differently. How revolutionary. Next up, I want to learn a new technique. I'm rather enthralled at the moment with some of the images that Pep Ventosa has done. He has a technique called in the round when he chooses one subject and he walks around it, taking photos from multiple angles. He goes back into his workshop and then works on them so that they look really painterly because he's multiple layered them. So in doing this, I'm going to learn 2 techniques, multiple exposures and how the heck to use blend modes. Something that's been baffling me for quite some time. My third goal for this year is to explore a new place, and the place I have chosen is Donegal. I've kind of fallen in love with 2 areas, Malin Head and Crocky Arch. But Donegal doesn't just seem to be limited to fabulous seascapes. I'm looking at waterfalls, landscapes, and also just having a little bit of downtime to do some good walking. My 4th goal for this year is to improve a technique or skill that I'm just about getting to grips with, and that's split toning. I will quite often watch online professionals giving photo talks about something they are skilled and passionate about. A little while ago, I watched one on split toning by Mark Littlejohn, who is a photographer that I deeply, deeply admire. Some of his images that I've regarded as very special, I didn't realise used split toning. And that's something that I want to incorporate more when appropriate in my own images. So it's honing a skill that I've already started to use. And a final bonus thing that I want to achieve by the end of the year. I once remember a professional YouTuber stating that if he got 8 shots that he was very proud of in a year and that he was being prepared to print, then he was happy. He felt that was a successful year. I'm not at that level. However, if I can get 3 that I'm happy enough to print and put on my own wall, well, I'll consider that year a success. I think I've got 2 this year. 2. One is up there behind me, and the other one is this one, which was taken fairly recently on a trip to Slovenia. Thank you for joining me today. And if you've had your own mojo-less moments, you'll know what a big deal it is to get your camera out, to get your backside outside, and to start that process of getting over it. That's exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. I'm out with my photo buddy, and hopefully, I can start on that journey to achieving at least some of my goals I've set out today. Wish me luck. Well, I'm out. I'm getting my mojo back. For the first time, it's misty. This is location number 3 because we couldn't see a thing at location 1 and 2. This is quite cool though. Thank you. So after a short trudge through these lovely woods, We came to a location I wanted to shoot in these conditions for a few years. Just look at this. So I took a rare selfie in this venue just because I wanted to remember what it felt like when I got it back.
Just you, is it?
Yeah. My marriage.
The end of everything. I wasn't prepared.
I am at my age.